and welcome to Americans Learn. My name is Lauren, and I am in my animal week this time, apparently, because now I'm doing a Lindsay Nikole video. Yay. That was a great song, and you should find it on Spotify. I'm going to be watching a video by Lindsay Nikole today. It is called Sea Slugs I Think You Will Like. And honestly, I've seen a lot of sea slugs that are really, really cool looking. A lot of them are also really, really poisonousy. But at the same time, aesthetically though, they're kind of great. So if you want to see more stuff like this, go ahead, let me know by liking the video, commenting, etc., etc. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Also, let me know what else I should be looking at. I am very much looking forward to this. So I don't want to waste any more time. Let's find out what sea slugs I'll like.
Should I even show this yet? Got a new tattoo yesterday. Ooh. I didn't finish it because this hurt a lot, especially when it got into the armpit. But finally finishing my sleeve, I'm adding some plants. I've got bird of paradise going on.
Cool.
And a palm leaf. I don't know when I'm going to finish it now because now I know what the armpit feels like and it sucks. Anyway, today I'm introducing you to one of my favorite animals. Cheetahs will always be number one because of the lore. But there's one group that, when I first learned about in college, shocked me by how badass they are. The sea slugs. When you first hear sea slugs,
so cool looking. Look at that thing.
Something like,
I would like it. I mean, I don't want that. I would love, like, this would be a cool tattoo. It's like, also it's poisonous.
To something like this. A generic slug in the ocean. Objectively gross. But that is absolutely not the case. Sea slugs are vibrant, colorful, some are so objectively cute, and many have abilities that I still can't wrap my head around to this day. A very big part of me feels like they can't possibly exist. They're too good to be true, and soon you'll see why. So buckle up, and allow me to introduce you to your new favorite group of animals. And if you say they're not, you're a goddamn liar. As always, let's get the general information out of the way by starting off with a technicality. Technically, the animals that I'm introducing you to are called nudibranchs, a specific group of sea slugs. The name
so not a nudibranch. All right. Nudibranch.
Nudibranch translates to naked gills, which is just what the fuck these sea slugs got going on. Generally, exposed gills on the outsides of their bodies, on their backs. For the sake of this video, when I say sea slugs, I mean nudibranchs, unless I say so, because nudibranchs are sea slugs. But just keep in mind that not all sea slugs are
so round!
So, sea slugs are found in oceans all around the world, mostly in shallow, tropical waters, and they are also very small, about 2 inches long, in general.
That looks like
Some
a bad
get to
idea,
like
probably
2
in
feet
general.
long, but they are
oh my God,
exceptions. Big exceptions. Mostly, they are extremely little guys. And like I said, they are vibrant, colorful, absolutely
so
dazzling.
Cool
in some cases, it serves as camouflage. In others, it serves as something called aposematism. How did I say it was pronounced last time? I feel like I went back and forth. Aposematism. Shit. You say aposematic, so then it must be aposematism.
Aposematic.
Yeah. Which you might remember from the episode of What the Fuck Is This? That was just a series of people touching things they
I remember that episode.
They're chill.
It was, in fact, not chill.
When it comes to the animal kingdom, a good rule to live by is, if it looks like an acid trip, it could send you on an acid trip. And a bad one at that. Bright colors usually indicate something is toxic, disgusting, or otherwise foul, if you choose to indulge. And this rule exists on a spectrum for sea slugs. Some are pretty harmless, while others have the power to make you see the light, as I will show you in a bit. Also worth mentioning that their fossil record is garbage. Matter of fact, it's non-existent.
Because there's no fossils.
See, they are soft-bodied to shit, and small, and soft-bodied to shit are the two worst qualities to have checked off if you want to be dug out of the ground millions of years ago. But honestly, I think that's pretty cool and kind of crazy to think about. If they didn't exist today, we would just have no idea they ever existed. So what else do we not know?
I'm glad they exist today then.
That's just crazy to think about.
Oh, that's also, that is crazy. It's like, yeah, what else isn't there? What other crazy creatures have existed on this planet? What other rough drafts did God put out that we'll just never know about?
So just keep that in mind, because as I show you some sea slugs, you'll probably remember that and be like, holy shit ×2, because this is cool, and also, what else existed like this that we'll never know about? Also, last thing before showing you the nudibranchs, they're all hermaphroditic. They have both male and female parts.
Interesting.
So they can conveniently bang anyone. And objectively, that's probably the best situation to be in the animal kingdom. So,
yeah.
Round of applause for them. We're gonna start off with the one you are most likely to like. Objectively, the cutest one on the list. About a year and a half ago, I had you guys vote on what traits make an animal objectively cute. You came up with small, fluffy, and round. And this sea slug is the trifecta. The sea bunny, as you can see, small, fluffy, and round.
That's the cutest fucking thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
Oh, and we know what happens to that rabbit later.
First glance, there's a chance you're thinking this cannot possibly exist. It is too perfect to be real, but yet it is. The sea bunny is an inch-long nudibranch, first discovered in 1938 off the coast of Japan, which honestly is very on brand. It's like the Hello Kitty of nudibranchs.
Yeah, you know what? Fair.
From a small marine invertebrate, the sea bunny is not covered in true fur or fluff, but instead something arguably even cooler, Carophilidia. Tiny sensory structures that just so happen to get arranged in a way that is absolutely darling. And their bunny ears are not actual ears, but rhinophores, which are similar to ears in the sense that they sense something, but instead of sound, they sense chemicals. Chemical ears, if you will, to locate friends, food, and foe. And the bunny tail is the naked lung situation I told you about earlier. It's how they breathe. So, they got a lot of cool shit going on that just so happens to be arranged in a way that's objectively cute. But unlike other bunnies, sea bunnies do not eat plants. Their food situation is a bit unusual. They eat toxic sponges. A bit disgusting if you ask me. But excellent. In doing so, they become toxic themselves. So what the fuck does that mean? This is the whole thing about nudibranchs.
I mean, I eat enough spicy food, right? And capsaicin or whatever, however you say it, is apparently fairly toxic. So I wonder if animals tried to eat me, they would die because I would spice poison them. A lot of caffeine, a lot of spices in my bloodstream, because that is how that's how digestion works. It goes right into your bloodstream, just in case you didn't know. My blood is coffee and capsaicin. I still don't know if I'm saying that right.
That seems too cool to be true. You know how people say, you are what you eat? Well, many nudibranchs take that seriously. I wanted to show you the sea bunny first to kind of get your guard down, appeal to your ethos. And now I want to explain what the fuck I meant by that with a different kind of sea slug, the aeolid nudibranchs. As you can see, they are sick looking. Rather than the tiny, fluffy Carophilidia all over the sea bunny, the aeolid nudibranchs have serrata covering their bodies. Much more prominent, much more metal. Just totally and completely badass. Aeolid nudibranchs like to eat cnidarians, a massive group called a phylum that includes animals like jellyfish, sea anemones, coral, etc. One thing about this group is they are notorious for their defense mechanisms, stinging cells called nematocysts. Probably familiar with them if you ever got stung by a jellyfish at the beach. They're very small, but they have this little coiled, thread-like structure that acts like a tripwire. And when it's triggered, this little harpoon called a nematocyst tubule gets shot at, penetrates the prey or predator's skin, and injects different types of toxins into the target. But aeolid nudibranchs are not fazed by this defense at all. Nope. They seek it out. They yearn for it. They eat it, unharmed, but then absorb it into their bodies, store it at the very tips of their serrata, to use as their own defense later on. Dude, they take the prey's defense mechanism, say, fuck you and your entire family, eat it, and save it to use for later. What the fuck? I think that's the coolest thing ever. Imagine if we could do that. That would be so sick. Eat a puffer fish, and then poke someone and send them to the ER. Actually, that would not be sick. That would be devastating. There was probably a better example to use for that.
You know what? I think that Lindsay. I think your first instinct there was the one that's correct, huh? Careful about Lindsay. I think that she might have gained the power to poke people with pufferfish fingers.
Imagine if you could eat a fish and then suddenly have gills and swim underwater. That would be sick.
Feels different. That feels like that is a different thing entirely. That's just assimilating traits. Like that's different than absorbing a poison and then exuding the poison. I feel like those two things are different.
This is all to say that the sea bunnies have a similar situation with the toxic sponge. They eat the toxic sponge, and suddenly they become toxic in the way the toxic sponge is toxic. So, another point for sea bunnies being the coolest. Now, back to the
But does that prevent other creatures from eating the sea bunny? Or does that just mean the sea bunny's like, if I'm going out, you're coming with me, fucker?
I want to show you some specific species that I think that you will like the chocolate aeolid. They don't eat chocolate that we know of, but they definitely look like they do. And their scientific name is Couthanella coca-chroma, which I just love. Coca-Chroma. Sounds like a vacation drink.
That is great.
A pina colada with chocolate in it. This one doesn't have a common name, but it's called Philodesmium eriomotens. I think it needs a name. It is so cool. I'm personally leaning towards sea snowflake, because their serrata kind
I
of
was going to call it a star something, but
designs.
sea snowflake
They look
is
like
good.
a winter wonderland in the form of a sea slug. Let me know if you agree or if you have any other suggestions. Next, the Undertaker Nudibranch, which was discovered pretty recently in 2018 in the deep sea. The Monterey Bay Aquarium Research Institute announced the discovery. It said the slug was found under some whale bones. So, it must have been hanging out in a whale fall, which are little temporary oases in the deep sea created by the death of a whale. Sinks to the bottom, becomes a big feast for all the deep sea misfits. One of them, in this case, being the Undertaker Nudibranch. Whale falls are one of the many
I was freaking waiting for that wrestler to show up.
of nature being metal as fuck. And also, they are on my list to cover in a long-form format.
Oh, sick.
Just so you
Okay.
know. All right, the next slug on the list is not an aeolid. It kind of has the same shit going on as an aeolid times 10. Or possibly times 100. The blue dragon. One from that What the Fuck Is This episode that I mentioned earlier. I couldn't not highlight them in this video. They are
Fair.
obviously stunning. And as long as you stay the fuck away from them, they serve as another great candidate for your favorite sea slug. So, let me break it down. The blue dragon, or Glaucus atlanticus, very pointy name, I like it a lot, is a petite, inch-long nudibranch that is obviously stunning. They look like something out of Spine World, the greatest online game to ever exist. Period. Or they look like something out of perhaps an acid trip.
See, like, again, this is something that I would love to have, like, on this arm somewhere, like, maybe, like, right here, just, like, curled around, like, the blue dragon. Because, like, this arm is my colorful arm, right? So I've got my, like, the moon, and it's, like, a little wave coming out of it. I've got my sunflowers, because they're very funny, to be called sunflowers. And, like, something like that, like, right here, I think would fit in well with sort of, like, the nature theme that I've got going on over here. And it's really cool looking.
Something you should avoid, if you remember what I said, because they will fuck your shit up if need be.
It's like goes on with the nature theme, and it goes with like the style of this one too. Like I feel like it's a similar like shapes and symbols, and I don't know. I think that could look really cool.
Like the aeolid nudibranchs, the blue dragon has an appetite for the wicked, but this time much more heinous, because they like to eat the Portuguese man of war, which you might be familiar with from a variety of viral videos of people touching them, licking them, caressing them, and other profane acts that should put them on a list. I don't know what kind of list,
The Darwin Awards.
but a list. Because a man of war will rock your shit like nobody's business. Their tentacles can get to over 100 feet long and deliver excruciatingly painful stings that, on rare occasion, can be deadly. They are cnidarians, in the same phylum as jellyfish and anemones.
Why is it cnidarians and there's a C in it? I think that just take away the C. You don't need it anymore. Just come on now. You don't say it. Why do you? Just get rid of it. No. I'm gonna get rid of the C. No more C. Bye C.
So they have those stinging nematocysts as well, but much more potent, able to send a full-size human to the ER, and on rare occasion, to their death. But somehow this has not stopped the inch-long blue dragon. No, this is their bread and butter. Just like the aeolids, they are not only immune to the stingers, but recycle them for their own use, sorting them through the digestive gland and storing them at the tips of their serrata for defense later on. After just a quick bite to eat, this tiny, beautiful specimen becomes one of the deadliest creatures in the ocean, and I find that inspiring. I think that's very cool. I wish we could do something like that, but in a way that's productive to society, you know? Like, imagine if we could do that with celery, or just plants in general. Like, eat a plant, then suddenly we can go outside and photosynthesize.
See, that's closer to what the actual thing that she was trying to do earlier with the fish gills thing. That's closer. This is a closer metaphor, I think, to the first one. But zap, zap.
Make food from the sun.
You lick a battery and then you can power your lamp. How about that? I don't know.
Solar-powered people. How cool would that be? Which brings me to my next example of a slug that can do just that. The leaf sheep sea slug.
Oh, look at him. He looks like something out of like a Wallace and Gromit cartoon.
The aeolids and the blue dragon, but this time with plants. They eat algae, then recycle the chloroplasts, store them in their serrata, and
So
suddenly
cute.
become kind of half plant, half animal, able to photosynthesize and make energy for themselves for up to about 10 days.
Photosynthesis.
This is called kleptoplasty, which essentially means the ability to steal chloroplasts and use them for yourself. Kleptoplasty. I didn't realize until I started researching for this video that the leaf sheep is not technically a nudibranch. They belong to a different group of sea slugs that have similar shit going on as nudibranchs, called sacoglossans. Lots of sacoglossans have
They're
this
so
photosynthetic
cool, these
ability.
things.
And many species blur the line between plant and animal even more. I mean, not actually, because they are definitely animals, like this one, Elysia chlorotica. There's no denying they look like a leaf. And they can photosynthesize for a very long time.
Damn.
Like up to a year, after taking chloroplast from algae only a couple times. So, honestly, just another example of nature never giving shit to you straight. Another cool relative with the same shit going on is Elysia crispata, also known as a lettuce slug. And another one, Elysia ornata. And another
they're all so
Elysia
cool.
timida. I like what this group brings to the table. They're very dazzling. And as you would expect from such a cool animal with a cool ability, scientists are researching the fuck out of them, trying to figure out how they do the things they do so that maybe we could do something similar in some sort of fashion at some point. And they especially look at the leaf-looking ones.
So pretty.
Elysia chlorotica. Because they not only recycle the chloroplast and use them for a bit. No, like I said, they hang on to them for a while. Nurture them. Give them a nice one bed, one bath to not only live in, but thrive in, which is something that physiologically only plants should be able to do. Plants have the structures to provide chloroplasts with the things they need, like proteins, which makes sense. Chloroplasts are plant things, and plants are very different from animals. But somehow, these animals are providing these things too. They're providing plant structures as an animal. So, how? Remember how in the brine pools video I mentioned bacteria, how they are very cool because they can get genes from each other, among other things, which is essentially the equivalent of me high-fiving someone with blue eyes and suddenly I have blue eyes. It's called horizontal gene transfer. It's something that bacteria do fucking all the time, and it seems as though it played a role in this sea slug's ability to house chloroplasts.
Oh, cool.
How exactly? I couldn't even begin to tell you. Horizontal gene transfer is like cell biology shit, and if you know me,
also
I don't fuck with cell
magic.
shit. I want to. I just have a very hard time grasping it at this moment in time. So just know, at some point, they were able to take plant genes and incorporate them into their own genome. Kind of actually becoming part plant, I guess. If you want to read more about it, here's a paper I was looking at. And if you're into cell shit and you read the paper, maybe leave a comment and let us know what the fuck is going on. I would love if you did that. And now we're going to move on.
Let us
so
know.
just a couple of miscellaneous honorable mentions. There really is no sea slug you cannot love. Like, check this one out. The lion's mane nudibranch. They have a mouth like a net to trap their prey. And apparently, they emit an odor reminiscent of watermelon candy. Pretty cool. Next, the Spanish dancer.
like how that
one of
one
the
looked
larger
so much.
nudibranchs, getting up to about a foot long. Quite flamboyant in their movements, like a flamenco skirt. Next, Goniobranchus reticulatus. They don't have a common name, but you should know them as the disposable penis nudibranch, because they have a disposable penis.
Oh.
What?
Every time
I was thinking it looks kind of like the mushrooms of Mushroom Gorge, but go off, I guess.
use a little bit of it, and then that little bit breaks off. It's like segmented, like those pencils from back in the day. You know, those segmented
sucked.
Pencils from the 2000s.
I had so many of them.
You know, that's another one. And the donut nudibranch. I want to eat this one. It looks like an exotic pasta dish. It looks delicious. They belong to the genus.
I was not thinking pasta. I was thinking, I got more of a sushi. I guess I could kind of see pasta. I was thinking it kind of gelatiny though. It just looks like it looks like a dessert maybe.
Is Doto,
if it
which
has to
also
be
includes
food.
species like the bubble nudibranch, Doto usi, and Doto bella, which are also very cute. And that's it. That's sea slugs that I hope you liked. There's plenty more. If I didn't name your favorite, if you have one already, let us know what it is in the comments. I love nudibranchs, and I would love if you told me about some other ones that I might not know about yet. So I want to give a little hint to next week's episode. It's the next episode of the History of Life on Earth. We're out of dinosaur territory. On to better things. I may or may not have some merch coming out that day. It may or may not include some stuff that you may or may not have been asking for about a year, ever since it was first released about a year ago. It may or may not be making a comeback, along with other things that you might like even more. Maybe you'll like all of them. So be sure to subscribe so you don't miss that announcement in the next episode of the History of Life on Earth that we know of. Keep up with behind-the-scenes updates on Patreon, where you can also check out our Discord server. And for now, stay curious. The world has a lot for us to learn. See ya!
Okay, great. I did like those. She was correct. I did, in fact, like those sea slugs. They were great. Her videos are always so much fun. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what else I should look at in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe. I will see you in the next one.